Welcome to the World's Strongest Man competition, which this year takes place just outside the home of Lady Luck, Las Vegas, against the stunning backdrop of the sun-bleached Nevada desert. This, the first heat, promises to bring us all the drama and excitement we've come to expect from the World's Strongest Man as the reigning champion defends his title. By the end of this show, we'll know whether Magnús Ver Magnússon has a chance of being the World's Strongest Man for the 4th year running. Here's Paul Dickinson, or rather, down there somewhere is Paul Dickinson, with more information.
Thanks, Philippa. Well, I can't believe how peaceful it is down here, but we're going to change all of that in a few moments' time, when Magnus and 5 other competitors, including Scotland's Brian Bell, are going to take part in some trials of strength, which, as always, will test every muscle in their body. The scoring is very simple. It's 6 points for first place, 5 for second, and so on down to 1 point for last place. With only 4 events in each heat, it means there's no margin for error if you want to become one of the 2 men to make it through to the final. There is one problem, though, and that is this searing heat. And believe me, these massive men are not built for endurance. It's strength, speed and power that will be the key to their success. So let's meet them all now, starting with the man who's been unbeatable for the last 3 years, Magnús Ver Magnússon of Iceland. He's taken a lot of punishment during his long career, but he defies pain to produce magnificent performances when it matters most. Scotland's Brian Bell is more experienced than when he appeared for the first time last year. He's determined to produce a performance worthy of a place in the final. Norway has a real star in Svend Karlsen. A champion in powerlifting and bodybuilding, his Viking strength is hunting for yet another title. In Torfi Ólafsson, we have our second Icelander who wants to break the monopoly of his fellow countrymen. If size is anything to go by, he's got a great chance. Onosai is a massive man too. Since he started in strength competitions, his dream has been to win this title. And finally, Regin Vágadal was a surprise finalist last year with an inspired performance. He's back and ready to do battle again.
We're against the backdrop of the mountains of the Nevada desert in the aptly named Buffalo Bills, the first gambling stop inside the state line, just 40 minutes away from Las Vegas. Last-minute preparations are still taking place for the first event, the Winch, which gives Paul a chance to catch up with the reigning champion.
Magnus, this competition seems to be getting tougher every year. Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, tell me about it. And I'm not getting any younger every year.
Magnús Ver Magnússon starts as favourite. Do you think he can defend his title again?
Magnus is an awesome athlete, and he's an awesome person, and I think he's got his work cut out for him this year, because there are a lot of great athletes assembled this year at the World's Strongest Man.
Now, Great Britain has had a very good record in this competition in the past. Do you feel able as though you can qualify for the final?
Well, it's quite difficult to follow in the footsteps of Gary Taylor and Jamie Reeves, but I'll give it my best shot for Scotland.
This looks as though it could be one of the toughest heats of all.
It certainly doesn't look like one of the easiest heats. But if you want to go and win the World's Strongest Man, it doesn't matter what heat you are in.
And so we get cracking with a massive trial of strength. 34,000 pounds of American super truck to be wound in with a winch over the course of 30 metres. Onosai the first to go. And the competitors having drawn before the competition to see who goes first. Just gets the strain on, and here we go. And getting this giant lorry going is going to be the most difficult part of this event. Joe's 25-stone body weight might not help him too much here. It's strength in the arms and the shoulders. The champion watching and waiting. Just over 35 seconds, and Joe is really working hard. It's always difficult going first, but this is a good effort. He's getting tremendous support, and the truck is on its way. There's just about 5 more meters to go and the agony will stop. These big guys don't like endurance. It must cross the line. 55.95 seconds, a big effort from a huge guy. The champion for the last 3 years, beginning the long haul to try and win it once again. Possibly the best all-round strength athlete the world has ever known. He'll take his time to prepare himself, and Asda, his girlfriend, as always, looking worried. Now Magnus knows the importance of a strong start. Get it rolling, and then keep up a steady rhythm. But that winch looks very awkward. There's 30 seconds on the clock now with the time to beat in the left-hand corner, and this looks like a big effort from the Icelander. The arms really pumping away, using every muscle in his body. And Asda screaming her support. He's very, very close now. Can he beat 50 seconds? There's still a little bit more to do. The last couple of meters agonizingly slow. I think he's lost the early advantage. It's over 56 seconds. He's behind Joe Onosai, but delighted it's over. And Joe may be a bit surprised, but there's a long way to go. Scotland's Brian Bell, the third man to go in this event. 18 wheels supporting 15 tons of steel on its way. And Brian is really having a go here. He's going at it like crazy. He's got tremendous strength in his arms and shoulders. There's Jackie, his wife, trying to encourage him. But I think that early fast start is going to make him slow down a little. He's almost there. This is a great effort from the Scot. He's slowing just a little, but this is a tremendous effort. 53.42. Can you believe it? He's beaten two of the best men in the competition. He's totally exhausted, but in the lead. And Joe can't believe it. Brian, that's the best possible start. It's just been announced you're in the lead, 53 seconds.
I'm very pleased to beat two of the top guys in the world, but it's very difficult to know how fast you're going. It's just grit, determination, and just keep going to the line.
Well, if it's grit and determination that's a major factor here, this guy has got stacks of it. Regin Vágadal, he almost became a national hero in the Faroe Islands when he made the final last year, despite a terrible accident in one of the events. He almost buried his head in the tarmac after falling underneath one of the weights he was lifting. So 30 seconds now, and look at this. He's really getting stuck in. He's really attacking it. It looks very fast, and that's worrying Brian Bell. He's still working, and girlfriend Macon with a stopwatch at the ready. Just a couple of meters to go, and well under 50 seconds. 46.60, and that is sensational. Vágadal has destroyed the rest. A real stunner for Brian Bell. Well, this guy means business. Svend Karlsen from Norway, raring to go by the looks of it. And the load ready and waiting. Svend Karlsen would love to make the final here, but look at this, he's struggling a little bit to get it going. He needs to smooth out those turns on the winch. Well, 30 seconds is coming up. He could be behind, but it's beginning to move well. That's his wife, Nana, giving him a bit of stick. He's really got it going, and it seems to be accelerating after that poor start. Oh yes, he's going to do it very easily. Very impressive indeed. Another 4 seconds off the best time. You might have heard him shouting Viking power. I'm not going to argue with that. Well, you can't impress everybody, but certainly in first place. Torfi Ólafsson of Iceland getting ready. The giant truck is away for the last time, and Torfi, like Joe Onosai, weighing in at 25 stones. This is a real challenge for this man. I think it's a very fast run too. His fellow countryman, the champion, is in real danger of ending up in last place here, and that would be a big shot. Karlsen wondering whether he can hang on to first place. Torfi is close to the finishing line, but he is tiring. The pain in those arms is excruciating, but it's a very good effort. 47.64, he likes it, he's in third place.
Well, just one look at Sven and it's obvious that he's up to do well, but as for Magnus, this has come as a complete shock. It almost robs the winner of his glory.
I'm more concerned that I'm going to do well in the next 3 events myself than worrying about his last place.
6th place, you've never been in that position before.
Nah. Right. Like I said, I've been suffering with injuries, so maybe I'm not, 100%. So if I'm not, I shouldn't be in the final.
Before fancy gyms were around, there were only rocks and logs to be lifted as a trial of strength. This event is called the Incline Press, and at 105 kilograms, the weight is equal to approximately 15.5 stone. Now, because the men are strapped to this bench, their arms and their shoulders are isolated, and so the upper body has to do all of the work. And this log has to be lifted from chest height to fully extended arm's length as many times as possible in 60 seconds.
And because of those two shocked 5th and 6th place positions in the last event, it's Onosai and Magnus who go first, and they'll be eager to make amends in event 2. Now, these logs weigh 105 kilograms each, that's 16 stones, and strength and endurance, once again, the keys to success. Now, we can plot their progress at the top of the screen with the number of reps they've done, and at the moment it's Onosai just creeping ahead, and the Samoan really pumping those arms, but there should be a better event for Magnus. He needs a good one. Joe's already gone a couple ahead and still working well. Magnus just slowing the pace a little. And Onosai really putting up a big total. The Icelander keeping it going, but he's much slower. And Onosai, he's up to 20 now. That is tremendous. Magnus is slowing a lot, but he's getting some coaching from Asta. They're both beginning to feel it. 23 for Onosai. Magnusson is finished. And Joe is finished too. 24 for him. I think that's a world record. And Magnus in pain. There's a big question mark now over his fitness. So is the defending champion carrying an injury? But look at that. Big Joe is really flying. And Magnus is looking worried. Joe, we've just heard your score was 24.
Well, I'm very excited. My goal was to hit 20, and so I got 4 more than I thought I would get, so I'm very excited about that.
Well, I don't suppose Torfi here, one of the next pair, Magnus who's finished, or Scotland's Brian Bell are too excited though. Onosai's total is going to be very tough to beat. Bell must be encouraged though by his last performance, and away we go. Well, straight away, Torfi just ahead, driving the log to arm's length, just as Philippa said, making it look very, very easy. And Brian's going well too. He's a big man for the bench press, so this should be a good one for him. Ólafsson is really getting a good rhythm and heading towards Magnusson's total. And he's there. Brian needs a couple more to draw level. That's one of them. Well, Ólafsson seems to have run out of steam a bit. He's on 17. Brian could do with another one. There's Jackie once again. Now, come on, Brian. Ólafsson's had enough now on 17. Just watching Brian Bell. He's finished as well. He can't quite get the extra rep to put him level with Magnus. That's Mrs. Karlsen getting ready to see if her husband can do the double. Svend on the right of Regin Vágadal. And Karlsen is really pumped up by his last performance. He was very impressive in winning the Winch, as was Regin in coming a surprise second. Well, Regin, or Raging as he's sometimes known, gets away well, and Karlsen really going for it again, and both men away to a fast start, but pacing yourself is very important too. Vágadal is just behind, but look at this, 230 pounds, made to look like a featherweight. I think Karlsen may have had one disqualified there. So both men are locked together, chasing Brian Bell's total. Karlsen's got it. And Svend has got the 15th now. Goes for another to beat Magnus. Regin is still level with the Scot and can't quite get the extra repetition. Svend pushing for all he's worth to get level with Torfi. He can't quite do it. Oh, it's a great effort though. And in the end, Onosai has won it by a mile.
Once again, a painful event and a shuffling of scores. Magnus may be in a position to regain some of his points, and Joe may be realising his dream.
You sound so relaxed about everything.
Well, I'm very confident. I've really prepared myself and worked hard and shed some weight, and I feel so much better now in this year's competition.
Just remind us how much you actually weigh.
A lot less than I was 2 years ago.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
His confidence is well placed. That last performance has brought him up to 3rd. Karlsen's still in the lead after 2, but the big shock is Magnusson, down in 6th.
Halfway through the first heat here in the Primm Resort, night falls and this place really comes alive in response to the rush of keen gamblers fresh in from California. All of them are hoping, some of them are convinced that they could really be next. You won't actually spot any of our guys giving in to temptation round the poker table. They're preparing for the heat of the desert and the competition. And despite the setting, I wouldn't lay any money on the winner of the Hercules Hold. This heat really is a spinning wheel of fortune.
Magnus has been champion so many times. It's a championship, it's a title that you guys want to win so desperately. What makes him special?
Well, he's a very special guy. He's the greatest champion this sport's ever had, and it's because of the heart that he has. He has a spirit of a warrior that just never quits and never dies.
Well, we'll have to wait and see as far as Magnus is concerned, but first it's Brian Bell, who needs something rather special here to move him up the leaderboard from 5th place overall.
Ready? Okay.
Dougie Edmonds sends him away, and as you can imagine, the grip is crucial, and that left-hand car is moving a lot. Oh, well, wife Jackie looking a little puzzled, and it appears that Brian wasn't ready for the off.
Did you say something else?
Back again, Bill.
Well, he'll have to negotiate another chance later. Regin going walkabout in the desert for his turn, and this guy has got massive arms, bigger than most people's legs. Getting ready for the action. And the Faroe Islander not wanting to make the same mistake as Brian. He wants those 1.5 ton cars in exactly the right place. Now look and listen to the effort. It looks and sounds like sheer torture. You need a massive amount of willpower here. Oh! 18.84 seconds, and boy is he glad it's over. Now then, if the final this year is to have its greatest champion in it, Magnus's fortunes have to change right now. His experience has always taught him never to leave anything to chance. This preparation here has got to be just right. And it's the first time Asda has seen a man under this sort of pressure for a very long time. Referee Dougie Edmonds just getting the car's edge back to exactly the right place for Magnus. His arms have to be straight to start. The feet in the right position. Here we go, 18.84 seconds to beat. The effort begins. The strain is taken across the arms and the shoulders, and the combined weight of these cars is over 6,000 pounds. They're designed to test the will to win too, and Magnus putting everything into this trial of strength. He's gone past Vágadal's time, and now he wants to put more on the clock to put the pressure on the rest. This is a tremendous effort. He's going to get close to 30 seconds, just short, but a step in the right direction for the great man, and it's appreciated by everybody. Magnus, you really did need to produce something special there.
Well, I don't know if this is anything special. A lot of good guys still to come in this. So now the only thing I can do is just sit back and watch.
Well, he's right about that. But the waiting can sometimes be more agonising than the events themselves. So now it's on to Svend Karlsen. Making sure of the start. This is not a gradual strain on the body. As soon as those cars are released, the shoulders immediately feel as though they're about to be pulled out of their sockets. But these are very, very strong men. That's why they're here. His wife making absolutely sure he knows the time situation. He's gone past Regin, now he's chasing Magnus. He's trying to shut out the intense pain. Look at that, 24.2 seconds. It's over, and his #1 fan is truly delighted. And so is Magnus, relieved still to be in the lead.
I'm only worried about myself, and I'm going to win tomorrow, so I'm not so worried about him.
That's a definite you're going to win?
I hope so, yeah. The wheel flip is mine.
Well, big promises from Karlsen. Meanwhile, Torfi Ólafsson in 2nd place overall gets ready. And this big guy is growing in confidence all the time. Oh, just a little adjustment of the feet there. That's dangerous, but checking on the grip. And now he begins to look comfortable, doesn't he? Heading towards 20 seconds. He looks solid as a rock. Oh, but look, the grip in his left hand went.
22.69 in third place, and Magnus still heading towards a possible 6 points. Now it's Joe Onosai. Incidentally, Brian Bell has been awarded another attempt, so he goes next. He'll be the last to go. Remember, Joe Onosai won the last event. Dougie Edmonds once again just checking on everything. Oh, that left-hand car is moving again. I'm not sure Joe had the start position right. He might regret that. He looks comfortable now, but I think his grip is going. That is a surprise. 11.42 seconds. Onosai can't believe it. And that makes qualifying for the final very interesting. The calculators are out and all the odds are changing.
Joe, you could be in trouble.
Well, obviously I'm very disappointed. You know, it was a lot heavier than I anticipated, but that's how it goes, you know.
So Brian Bell has his second chance, and he has to make this one count. If he can get into the top half, he's got a great chance of qualifying. Oh, he's got massive shoulders, hasn't he? But he's struggling already. Oh, look, it's going. And that's only going to get him a single point. That's it, and that's tough.
What a shame for Brian, but at last we're seeing what we expect from the 4 times champion Magnus. He's back in the running, but will it be enough?
This guy is a great champion. Can he make it through to the final?
It's a little chance.
A little chance.
Yes.
It would have to be a monumental effort. He's 5 points behind Karlsen, 3 behind Ólafsson, and level with Onosai. The last event is going to be a cracker.
We stay in the desert for the final event in this heat, which is the wheel flip. Simple but demanding. The competitors literally flip these wheels all the way down the 20-metre course. No rolling is allowed and they compete in pairs. Fastest time wins. Now, the difficulty is in manoeuvring these things, and there's a temptation to use your leg as support while you flip the tyre over. But in the past, contestants have been seriously injured just because of the huge weight of this thing crashing down on their leg. So they've been advised to resist that temptation. And to add to the tension, this is Magnus's first time at this event and he really needs to do well. To look at him though, you wouldn't have a clue of the pressure he's under. He's as cool as his iced water. Torfi, do you realise what you have to do in this event?
Yeah, I do. I need to get into the final for sure. I need at least 4 points if Mikey's going to win. Then at least 4 points to be sure.
Well, of course, all the competitors know exactly what is required. Unfortunately for Brian Bell on the left, he can't make the final, but he does want to go out with a flourish. Regin Vágadal, well, he could, but it's a real outside bet. That's the easy bit, as you can imagine. But these huge 300-kilogram tyres from giant earth movers are so awkward to lift into the vertical position. Well, Regin's done 2 now, and he looks as though he's fit to burst. The temperature is way up in the 90s in the desert, but he's going well. Brian Bell finding life difficult. This is possibly the most awkward test so far. Vágadal going well, and Brian Bell trying to give it a little bit of help with his leg. That can be dangerous if he slips, and that's why the 2 spotters are there. This must be the slowest 20 metres of their life. Brian looks absolutely exhausted. Vágadal keeps on going, getting close to 1 minute of heavy lifting, and this is very hard indeed for these guys. The spotter standing in close to Brian Bell there, but he doesn't need a hand this time. He's got 1 more, and that's important. Now Regin, after this one more flip, and he's home and dry. And he'll be very dry indeed, and Brian Bell is still trying so hard. It's that first part of the lift that's so difficult. Come on, the Faroe Islands. Just one last effort. He's just got to drop it over the line now. Yes, 1 minute 25.95. A tremendous effort from Regin Vágadal. Brian's got a couple more metres. He'll have to be measured at that position, and both men get great applause.
Joe Onosai, Samoa. Magnús Ver Magnússon.
Well, both of these guys are locked on 10 points and both have 1 win each. Now, mathematically, it's possible just for one of them to go through to the final if they win this event and if they push Karlsen and Ólafsson a couple of places down the field. Well, you heard what Philippa said. This is the first time Magnus has done this event, but he's such a great all-rounder. He's way to a cracking start. Joe is slower. Magnus is really flying, and Joe has got to get a move on. Oh, Asta is blowing a gasket, and Magnus is still going well. It's fast. It's very, very fast. Now Magnus desperately wants his place in the final. He wants it so much. Joe, I'm afraid, is not going to do it like this. The first big effort is to get the tyre off the ground, and Magnus does it so well. One more after this, and he's going to finish the course. This is a brilliant performance. The crowd know they're seeing something very special here. It's going to annihilate Vágadal's time. He's in first place at the minute, but what about Joe Onosai? I think Joe may well call it a day. He's behind Brian Bell at the moment. Exhaustion. And they know exactly what the other two have to do now.
You knew exactly what you had to do. Is it going to be enough?
I don't know.
It's really, you did your effort, and it's all down to the last pair, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Torfi will get an advantage in this because he's a little bit taller.
So the man he's just been talking about, Torfi Ólafsson, the last one to appear. Now remember what Karlsen said, he can win this. No, not can, he will win it. But the irony is that he doesn't need to win it to go through to the final. He just needs a couple of points to make sure. Ólafsson going well, but Karlsen isn't leaving anything to chance. He's going at it like a raging bull. Torfi too knows the score, but he's a long, long way behind. Karlsen is absolutely flying. Ólafsson well beaten already. Svend is certainly going for the win, and that spells danger for Magnús Ver Magnússon. This is the event that recently caused former World's Strongest Man, Welshman Gary Taylor, to suffer a crushed knee. We wish him well, but we're watching somebody who could win that title one of these days. It's a fantastic effort from Svend Karlsen. Look at that. He's won this last event. A Viking power's pretty good, isn't it? Torfi keeps going, and it's delight for the Karlsen clan. He's in the final, but what about Ólafsson? He's nearly at the finish. He doesn't actually have to cross the line. He's not going to get 4 points, but Ver Magnússon has come second, and I think we've got some drama.
The last event is over. The massive Sven never seemed to tire, and it earned him first place, an incredible improvement on last year's performance.
Viking power!
A big shock for the champion, but Iceland do go through to the final in the shape of Torfi Ólafsson. But what a dominant performance by Svend Karlsen.
No matter what, I'm happy now, no matter what is going to happen in the final, but of course I'm going to try to win it, and I believe I can.
Do you remember what you said in Mauritius?
Yeah, I said I'll be back, and I am back, for certain.
Are you looking forward to the final?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to sleep for 2 days, ready after that.
What about Magnus?
What can I say? It's just, you know, it wasn't my day, at least. Not now. But I'm not finished yet.
So finally, the great Icelandic champion has been toppled from his throne, which means we can be guaranteed a brand new World's Strongest Man. Maybe it will be the turn of 𝗚𝗥𝗢𝗨𝗣, who came so close to defeating Magnus last year and then had to retire with an injury. Well, you don't have to wait long to find out, just until the next heat back here in the Nevada desert. See you then.
And you can see that heat tomorrow at 3:25 on BBC One, where along with the rest we have England's strength sensation Russ Bradley.